going in Kielce?
It's all right. I mean, I'm happy I'm at my place in my home, but the situation is so intense that I cannot really fully relax into it in a way that it's so unknown. Everything is unknown. I had to cancel all the courses, and in one way it's great. On the other way, it's that unknown situation is very challenging. So otherwise, we going now into quarantine. That means that no going out, and that is, I think, challenging, because until now I was going out. I was in the parks, in the forest, and it was big resource. But being on quarantine, for me, being like at home, it is really challenging. Challenge not only just my physical essence, but also like my freedom, and that is somehow really like pushing me to the edge.
Is there a reason why they're restricting more?
Because they just don't want to make people out. They don't want people to gather together, because people didn't really pay attention to it, and they would go to parks, do barbecues and grills, and they would still meeting. So they try to make more. They try to force it, so they make it like the police can fine. Like if you go to the park, you would be fined. So
yeah, it's the same here in Sydney. We went through the same stages. At first, it was a suggestion, and then people didn't follow, and then boom, and then there's a lot of people complaining. But I think about it, I would invite them to think, oh, so you want to do this? So if you can do that, then everybody should be able to do it. And if everybody comes out, then I would just, you know what I mean? Some people just think, oh, I want to be able to do it. But if you can do it, then why can't other people do it? And if everybody comes out, and it's quite interesting.
Like some countries are more liberal, like in Sweden, they also highly advise to stay at home, but they don't force it with police and military. They just give that responsibility to people, saying, listen, like it's for your health. If you don't follow that, then it's up to you if you get sick. But they more giving people more responsibility. I like that, and I think people really respect that, because if you start forcing people to something, then they go into rebel and they try to do opposite. And if you clearly explain them the reason why, then people come. I think I'm more into, their own empowerment, and I think it's much healthier.
Yeah, it's an interesting time, because I remember, because I met you in Sydney with the Lomi Lomi course, and you talked about, in the philosophy of it, it's like a web, right? You have the diagram, everything's linked, and we're like that. I think this Wuhan virus is teaching us everything I do affects everyone else, and you know what I mean. We have together, we affect each other, because in the past, I can just stay in my own, I could just do my own thing and not worry about anyone else. But now we're all affecting each other. It's more visible now, like, you know what I mean? Like, because some people will get sick easier with this, then the healthy people can't just do whatever, because it will affect the less healthy people. It's like, we're all linked. I guess it's one positive thing you could think about it, is it's forcing us to acknowledge that we're all linked. But at the same time, because we're so scared of dying, now we've become separated again. The countries become separated. Like the EU is suddenly, it's gone. It's just countries now, right? There's no EU. There's no one EU policy.
No.
What happened to them? Are they just quiet? The whole establishment of the EU? I don't know.
you know, like the countries start closing borders because still we have EU, but every country's government has some different regulations and
Mm,
laws a little bit. And so they try to separate that because to protect from spreading the virus in between the countries, even though we have a common politics for EU, different countries has slight different approach, different
mm,
personality. So I think this is the prevention that they trying to make. But what is interesting about what you said about this network,
mm,
and this is for me coming to the, you know, to this beautiful symbol eye of Kanaloa from Hawaii, this spider web network that it really, I think this time we really teach everybody that we are all one with nature, in between each other, that we are all connected, because we tend to live before in a way that this is my life, this is my
mm.
property, this is mine, and this is my health, and this is my piece of land, and in this kind of separation from each other. And now this example of separating the countries is exactly that no, we're not one, we are you know, one with ourselves, we are all connected, and that well-being of the neighbor or well-being of the other is impacting our well-being. And metaphorically, I really like that we start looking into the world as a one. And so
Mm,
that the network connected energetical lines, they call aka lines, that we all connected and we all impact each other in many ways, including our health, will have tremendous impact with the whole pandemic, I think. And I really like that idea that in a way this will teach us looking into each other in different way. Like when I go out now to the, well, now parks are forbidden, but like a few days ago, even going out to the park, I noticed the people who I usually meet in that particular park, they would be like so much like focus on themselves, they would look
mm,
down, they would like, even if they would run, they would be like in their own bubble. And now you pass
mm,
somebody and
yeah.
they smile, they connect, there is sense of humility and a connection. Like people are like so craving that intimacy with each other, I think, and seeing each other. And it's so beautiful because I think this is our essence, that we acknowledge each other and see each other in our differences, because at essence we are one. We're seeking the same thing, the same acknowledgement. We're seeking that connection, love, compassion. We want to be acknowledged, be seen, be heard. And so I think that shows us like we are one in the journey, no
Mm,
matter where we're coming from, no matter what country we're living, and how we were upbringing, our religion, and all this stuff is so secondary. But at essence, we're all one. And also the nature, including nature into it, that like all elements of the nature lives in our body.
mm,
Like
mm,
you remember in this beautiful practice, Hawaiian practice that we did in Sydney, and connecting with the 7 different elements that lives in our body.
mm,
And so embracing that helps us understand, oh my God, like if those elements are within me, this is like whole universe inside of me
mm, mm, mm,
that represents what outside. And I really love that because it helps me to appreciate the nature, take care of the nature, and have gratitude. You know, when I wake up, I put my feet on the ground, and first thing I do is like, thank you earth, thank you earth, that
mm.
I can walk on you today, and I can be in service. So this is my first thoughts every single day after waking up, to be grateful even in these difficult times.
Mm.